Time for another big anything goes Q&A video. Let's get right to it. The first question is from Mike. Mike says, do you ever get stuck using your pop-up flash? If so, have you ever bought or made a diffuser? Well, yes. I love my speed lights, but in a pinch, the pop-up flash can do just fine. I've certainly improvised diffusers before too. A sheet of paper can make an emergency softbox, or whatever you have, like even a plastic spoon. If your camera allows for it, a little negative flash compensation on the pop-up can even out the lighting a bit, or if it allows, use it at manual power on a fairly low setting. One thing that I found is that the default ratio of the pop-up flash can be a bit harsh. The next question is from Jason. Jason says, what color does a Smurf turn when you choke it? Jason, stop choking your Smurfs or I'm going to take them away. Seriously, last time. No more. No more warnings. I mean it. Stop! Seriously. Okay, the next question is from James. James says, why are car rentals so expensive in Fort Myers? It's more than double the price of last year. Well, I actually looked it up. They don't seem too bad. Pay in advance with Avis at Fort Myers Airport, and you get an $18 per day subcompact. They seem pretty reasonable. Tell them I sent you. They actually won't have any idea who I am, but, you know, tell them anyway. The next question is from Kristen. Wait, I lied. Kirsten. Kirsten, have you ever done a professional photo shoot where your client did not end up liking the end result? If yes, how did you handle it? Fortunately, I've never had a client that was more than a little dissatisfied. And on those few occasions, the best thing I was able to do was to get them talking. Maybe they wanted more, black and white images. Maybe once they saw the images, framed prints were really more what they wanted rather than the album they had prepaid for. The key here is prevention. The upfront communication and sharing will help to assure a satisfied customer in the end. I'm pretty firm though. If a client did complain about the quality of their images, I'd have to decide, is this someone that I would want to work with again? So, if so, I might make some concessions. If not, well, we'd have to just find a different kind of piece amongst ourselves. The next question is from Edward. He has two. One about photography. The eternal question concerning JPEG and RAW. So much people say it's better to shoot RAW, but I'm a bit scared to go from JPEG to RAW because I'm not good at processing my photos after. Edward, it is best to shoot the way that makes you feel the most comfortable and the most creative. Try both ways, and if you prefer one over the other, go with it. Don't let anyone else tell you how to set your camera. You know what? They can set their own camera. And the second question, the other one, you often mention karate. Tell us a bit more. How many years have you been training? Which karate style? I'm a great karate fan. Well, so am I. I started karate a couple years ago, but you know what? I had to take almost a year off because of some annoying knee problems. I hate to talk about which style I do because just like with photography, people can be so snobbish about what style of karate you do. But you know what? I'm going to make an exception. I do American freestyle karate, which basically means that it pulls in several types of martial arts, but it's based in karate. The next question is from Dale. Maybe we should give the answer and make you guess the question, like Jeopardy. This sounds like it might be fun. We could have like a big blue board of categories and I'd be like, potpourri for 800. And you'd be like, the male is a Jack and the female is a Jenny. And I'd be like, what is a donkey, Alex? And you'd say, yes, donkey. I like this idea. Adam says, will you be my neighbor? Aw, that Mr. Rogers. Isn't that great, that shot where he's like flipping everyone off? Google it if you haven't seen it. The poor guy, he had no idea. I loved him, and I still do. He's dead. Next question. Anthony, why do you drive on a parkway and park on a driveway? I don't know. What is a parkway? I think they're supposed to be scenic, or there's parks or something. I like the park, especially when there's ducks. I love me some ducks. Jeff says, for photography, Do you prefer bulb lighting or always on lighting? Or do you find yourself more of a strobist? And why do you prefer that form of lighting? Uh, well, I like strobes. I like continuous lighting. They definitely each have their pros and cons. I don't think of myself as a strobist though. When I'm outside the studio, I think of myself as observational and I want to capture the natural appearance of what I'm seeing. Next question is from Keith. What's your most favorite photo you've ever taken and why? Oh, that's a good question. Keith, I frankly usually hate the photos that I capture. So let's say that my most recent photo is my favorite because it means that I was taking pictures. I definitely have favorite photography experiences like the Grand Canyon or out of the ordinary sports and events and stuff like that though. The next question is from Raymond. Do you prefer margaritas? Oh, how do you prefer margaritas? Frozen or on the rocks? Margaritas? Why are we messing around with that? Like, let's just line these up and toss them back. Okay, the next question is from Howard. Is there a reason why you don't smile when posting self-portraits? Haha, this is an easy answer, because this is how I smile. The next question is from Ken. There will be a full moon on June 23rd closest to Earth. In your opinion, what is the best shooting spec for full moon? Kind of depends on what you're after. If you have a long lens, go for it. Use a tripod, and remember, the moon is always moving relative to the Earth, so no long shutter speeds for this. If your lens brings you in close enough for your spot meter to cover the moon, do that, even in auto exposure mode. The most common problem is to overexpose the moon itself because of all that black space around it. The moon doesn't move so quickly that you don't have time to make adjustments though. So start at about 1/500th shutter speed, f8, ISO 100, and go from there. Exposure can depend on the moon's positioning and the clarity of the weather conditions, so you'll definitely need to do some experimenting. The next one is from Rid. I can never decide what gear to bring to a wedding. I always end up carrying too much and don't use half of the stuff. So how do you deal with it? I go pretty minimal. I have a plan as to which bodies and lenses I'll be using at specific times. Everything else is usually locked away in my car. My wedding clients, though, are usually a bit more creative and offbeat than usual, so a prime lens or two can go a long way. Mike has the next question. I will be shooting a wedding for friends this fall in the Chicago area. What should I charge for the shoot? I have no idea. I don't know. Maybe ask them what they want to pay. If this is something that you haven't done before, maybe go with their idea for a price while you're building your portfolio. And my next question is from Michael. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? Oh, Mr. Rogers in that middle finger photo. I just can't get over it. The next question is from Mike. Mike says, what celestial body's definition is, its escape velocity exceeds the speed of light, approximately 186,282 miles per second. I think you're talking about a black hole. Now, if we want to get super technical, things change depending on what side of the event horizon we are and how far away. Frankly though, if we're messing around anywhere near the thing, we're just going to get sucked in. Kind of makes me want to do another one of these. Glenn says, where can you find the best deals on lenses? I'm looking for a 70-200 2.8 and don't want to empty my bank account. Looking for some studio equipment also. Thanks. Well, going used can be good. Maybe look for a first generation 70-200 if you're talking Nikon, or if you can live without the VR, the older 80-200, or even consider the newer 70-200 f4. I buy most of my toys on Amazon. There is a ton of low price studio stuff on eBay too, but a lot of it is junky. The good stuff, it always just costs some bucks. Richard says, what's your opinion on only shooting manual? I do wildlife photography and I only shoot in manual and love it, but sometimes drives me nuts and I miss shots because I was too busy trying to adjust settings because of the changing light. My opinion on this is like the RAW versus JPEG question earlier. Shoot how you like, and don't feel pressured to shoot a certain way. Personally, I like to control my aperture or shutter speed and let the camera do the rest. I even lean a bit on auto ISO sometimes, so that I'm not having to mess with that if the lighting calls for a bit more sensitivity. I'd rather just put some faith in the camera than miss a good shot.